Oh my god, how's it going? Look, one of our viewers, he actually found the lady that I was referring to in the videos that I was making in terms of like spamming games definitely works, because in one of the videos that I made about spamming, there was her profile in there. And I think I had it as a link somewhere. So, but basically he was able to track down that video and find it. So that's the lady on Russian server. So you see, like she just spams games and she got to Diamond 3. Now, I have to kind of admit I made a mistake that I thought she played a lot more games than she did, because if you look at her, I think it was this season. I think it was this. It could have been a different season, but I think it was. So I summed it up, and it was like 2 to 3,000 games, close to 2 to 3,000 games. And you see, because it was such a long time ago, I thought it was on each side 2 to 3,000 games. But anyway, we're still talking about thousands of games. We're still talking about thousands of games. That's like, and like she plays like Nami. Nami is like a, and Soraka is horrendous champions. I'm talking about horrendous. Like I have them on my banned list when I was doing, what was it, the Nasus 100% win rate. I think, one sec, let me just find it. Yeah, so this game here, well, this account here, I was just testing engagement optimized matchmaking system. So I was losing on purpose with junglers, and then when opportunity arises, so what I was doing, I was using Professor, and then I would look at the team. If the team is very, very good, I would play with Nasus. And obviously, because I'm in a winner's queue, the enemy was like pretty much bot game. Like I got 97 KDA with 100% win rate. Just think about it. This is 100 KDA Nasus, which is like absolutely insane. Just like this number to me is like, for me to die one time, I kill 97 other champions, which is absolutely sickening. But now, that's besides the point. What I'm talking about is that I would dodge on this account. I would dodge if I see champions like Nami, Soraka, Lulu. Seraphine depends on what enemy team, because Seraphine, in my opinion, not a very strong champion. But her entire champion pool is like poop tier. I'm talking about, like, we're talking horrendous picks. Especially champ like Nami. Because Nami is like, unless, like, she's one of the squishiest champions in the game is Nami. And she has, apart from her ult, almost everything is a skill shot. Well, not everything, but I mean her core kind of like skill set, I'm talking about abilities, right, is landing the bubble. That's kind of her main thing. And it's very difficult to do because she's so squishy. And she plays these champions. And she still, through spamming, can somehow get to diamond. Like, again, like Lulu, I don't consider Lulu to be a good champion. Like, it's definitely better than Nami because you have your magical ult, which get out of the jail card for any ADC. But like Yana in wrong hands, or Soraka or Nami, it's like, it's just such a, how do you carry with champions like this? And it's still possible to get to Diamond 3. You see what I'm saying? This is where I got an idea, because like when I'm thinking to myself, holy smokes, like how do you, with these champions, how do you impact the game if you are so passive as a player? Because when I was watching the replay, I mean, she's just extremely, maybe she's different now, but back then I was just like, dude, like she's not making any play. Because like, you have to remember, back then I was pretty good at Tryndamere. Like right now I'm kind of dog shit, I admit it, because I haven't played League of Legends such a long time. But back then I was still okayish. I wasn't at my peak, but I was okayish. And I was like going like 10 kills, 15 kills per game, and I was still struggling to get 70% win rate. And I thought to myself, how the hell is she higher elo than me? I was like mid gold, I think, back then when I played a couple of games with her. And I thought to myself, how the hell is she diamond? And I'm like, my KDA was like 4 to 5 every single game. It was definitely over 10 CS per minute because back then, if you rush T-Mat, it was unbearable how strong champion like the Tryndamere was. It was just because I think back then it was one of the seasons where you had true damage on Conqueror. I think once you fully stack Conqueror, you had true damage, which was like it was just crazy how strong Tryndamere was, and you could just like farm really really well. And I thought to myself, holy shit, like my score relative to her is so much higher. How is she so higher than me? And that's when I started thinking, oh my god, I think it's something to do with spamming the games. And then I checked her accounts, and then that's how I made the video on, like, for example, some professional players are lower in the challenger ladder than other challenger players. But like I know for a fact, you can know for a fact that like somebody like who was at the peak then, Perks I think was at the peak. It was G2 player, and he was like at the bottom of challenger. He was like in the low 150 I think player, and I was like, there is no way that this guy is not better than the top 50. So I thought to myself, why is there? What's the difference? And the difference was number of games played. So you see, when you see like all those guys on the top, is because they tend to. It's not really the highest skill player, it's the highest spammer. Like there is one guy in North America, I'm not gonna poop talk the guy, he's good, but he also spams a lot of games. I mean, he plays like obnoxious amount of games, like 20 games, and he's also a challenger player, constantly trying to get rank 1, and he goes on like rampage pages like 20, 30 games per day sometimes. So that's what I'm saying, is that in my head is like, at what point do you plug in your game analysis or practice your, I don't know, reflexes or CSing or something that is like a basketball player where you're specifically practicing on skills, fine-tuning your motor skills to perfect your performance inside the game, because at the end of the day you have to remember this is muscle memory we're talking about, right? And they do not do that. They don't do that. Like basketball professional players, they always do that. They spend more time on perfecting and crafting their, like, fine-tuning their skills rather than full-on playing a full game of basketball. Whereas League of Legends players, they're full-on just playing basketball all the time. And that's what I'm saying, is that, like, because I'm from, like, I played on very high level of basketball. Like, I played on Estonian national team for basketball. I know Estonia is not exactly the basketball country, but still, like, I had to sweat to get there. So I understand how to, what effort and what behaviors brings you to the top tier level of an athlete. And then I compare this to League of Legends players, which is arguably quote unquote an esport, and I don't see correlations between the two. This is why I was starting to think to myself, hold on a sec, there has to be something that I'm missing, and that something that I'm missing is the game spamming. Right? So you see, like it works like crazy. Even with shitty champions, it's still going to work. That's what I'm saying, is that if this guy wants to get to, he already got to master. I don't know if this is a girl or a male, I don't know. But I mean, if that person played Mundo, trust me, he would be high master, low grandmaster, for sure. And this chick would probably, in Russian server, because it's a little bit easier, probably would have made it to master if she was playing something like Nautilus or Alistair or something just completely obnoxious. Like Alistair, in my opinion, one of the most broken champions in the game, Alistair, because of his ult. You can kill him 20 times, he still has 80% damage reduction. And he's still going to be spamming his knock-up, which is... You can't buy tenacity against knock-up. and he 80% damage reduction, and he's the tankiest champion in the game. I think only Nunu is tankier than him with no items. So he's gonna be knocking you up every 3 seconds and level 18, even if he is 0-20. What a stupid champion. And whereas with Tryndamere, for you to be useful, or somebody like Riven or Vayne, I'm talking about like champs that, or Irelia or like Fiora, for you to be useful late game, provide the same level of usefulness as 0-20 Alistar, you gotta sweat your balls off to perform such miracles. That's what I'm saying, is that this game is less to do with you perfecting your craft and more to do with you picking brain dead OP bullshit and then just spamming obnoxious amount of games. And we can see that just spamming obnoxious amount of games alone is enough to carry you to high ranks. And these people are good examples of this, so I'm gonna link it in the description below. One sec. Yeah, so this video here is, I'll link it in the description below. So this guy is actually game designer for Riot. August. And he talked about ELO inflation. So basically, that's what I'm talking about here, is that we're kind of like, if you sum it up in a single word, what I'm describing here is ELO inflation. By simply playing the game, your rank rises. And he described it really well, and you know, he said, because the reason why we do that is because all games right now, especially mobile games, have this system where by simply spamming and participating in the game, you get rewarded with higher rank. It doesn't matter what you play, whether you're good or bad, you get rewarded, so you have a feeling of progress. Why do they do that? That's because it drives engagement. That's why I say this is rigged. This rank is completely irrelevant, because it measures duration of time spent in the game. It doesn't measure your skill, and you can very, very clearly see it when you play one-on-one games. Like, that's why I encourage people, just go and play one-on-one, because you will very clearly see how, like, gold players are just a lot harder to beat than, let's say, like emerald players, and it becomes very, 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 very obvious. Now, I'll be honest with you. Bronze players, there is definitely, like, they're definitely doing a lot of stuff. You can notice a bronze player, like, yeah, they're definitely, but it's very, very not unusual to see high silver and gold players that are just like, you just played against master tier player and you just smashed his Yasuo, and this gold Yasuo, you have to sweat your balls off to beat him. It's very common to see that stuff. And that's where I got the idea, is like, oh my god, like, this just rank is just, it's completely irrelevant because it's ELO inflation. That's what I'm telling you. All these good kids are like, oh my god, oh, this low ELO players. Dude, your rank, and he's like sitting there emerald. Dude, this chick plays Soraka, and she's like higher rank than a lot of those good kids that are commenting, which is like hilarious. So that's what I'm saying, is that one of the things why I kind of don't have a lot of respect for the game, I suppose, is that how do you measure skill in this game? Like, how do you, if somebody tells me, oh, I'm rank 1 in Challenger, I can for sure tell you that he's probably good. But if he says, oh, I'm higher than Perks, does that mean that he is better than Perks? I don't think so. If somebody tells me right now, oh, I'm Diamond, I can't be for a fact sure that he's a better player than me. Or, for example, let's say a dude says, oh, I'm a... Because I talked about this Riven player. Holy shit, this guy was good. I've never seen anyone kill my Trinda with Horn against Riven at level 4 with such speed. It was like... And I know the build he was building. It's not like he was caught me by surprise by some bullshit items. But I've never seen anyone combo this quickly. And he was like mid-gold player. Like low gold player. But you could see he doesn't play a lot. He was playing like maybe, I don't know, 50 games, maybe 20 games per season. It was very... But man, that guy was difficult to beat. Very, very difficult. I played against dude. He was, I think he was low diamond, high plat. Draven player. Holy shit, I lost to him so many times. That guy was good. And I beat like, I played against like Grandmaster Challenger ADCs who played Draven, who main Draven, and they were not that difficult to beat. And this guy was just like some kind of prodigy. I don't know. So you see what I'm saying is that when you compare, this guy for sure should be in Challenger. For sure. Because mechanically he's so good. Right? And then he's somehow not. Why is it like that? It would be obvious when you play one-on-one. And as soon as you see Challenger, you just like instantly have to sweat your balls off. At that point, I would agree, yeah, that the ranking here matters, right? But most of the time, it's like whether he's Challenger, Diamond, whatever, Emerald, I don't feel a big difference at all. I don't feel a big difference. It's actually harder, like I'll give you an example, it's harder to beat Silver Darius than it is to beat, let's say, Master Fiora. So what can we say? It's not the rank, the champion matters. The champion matters. And probably champion proficiency matters as well. So that's what I'm saying is that like that's what kind of tilts me is that those get good kids, they tend to treat rank as if it was like basketball, where the better your skill, the higher you go, and that the champion doesn't matter. Whereas I'm saying it's all about spamming, picking brain dead bullshit champions and just spamming. That's how you get rank. 99% of the time, that's how you do it. It's not about you getting coaching and starting to watch your replays. Of course, it gives you higher leverage in terms of, well, higher win percentage. But the difference we're talking about is like 5 to 10%. If you want, that's where the question lies, is should you simply spend 3 hours reviewing your games or spam more games, because those 3 hours you could be playing, right, and just spamming, and then we have to calculate effort to reward. And I would say probably spamming games effortlessly, where you just play Mundo and just playing with your legs, because you have to understand, you're not sweating, you're not actively thinking about anything, you're just rotating blindly games, and then voila, you will end up something like this. Because it's effortless, right? Because all this like reviews, all this kind of like calculating, timers, writing, it's very cognitively difficult. So that's what I'm saying is that where if you were to spend this time productively, you're better off getting some kind of degree that earns you money rather than spending it and getting a badge which says, oh my god, you are now diamond. And why it's meaningless? Because you can get a badge by simply spamming. So you have the same badge as a dude who is unemployed and sitting playing 30 games per day. You are at the same level. You had to sweat your balls off, watch the replays, get coaching, read all this theory of League of Legends. And a dude on the flip side is eating cheeseburgers for the whole day, watching, I don't know, YouTube videos while he's playing with Mundo, and you are, I shit you not, at the same level as he is. That devalues the rank completely. That makes it useless. So that's what I'm saying, is that like this game spamming is, but I'll link it in the video description below, this one and then both of the accounts. So, but the person who found it, thank you so much for finding the account. Really, really appreciate it. And okay, thank you so much, and hope you have a wonderful day. Take care. Bye-bye.